Hi then guys, and welcome to a new game review. This is a review for Jaws Unleashed on the PlayStation 2. This is a game which I got relatively recently. I've wanted it for a while, but I wasn't able to find it. And it's a pretty cool game, to be honest. It takes the traditional setting and surroundings of the Jaws that we all know and love, the original film. It has some elements of some of the following films, such as the SeaWorld aspect of, I believe it was Jaws 3. But basically it's Jaws in a good light, without any of the stupid nonsense that came of the other films. It doesn't follow the same story as the original Jaws film. It's set, I believe, around 20 or 30 years after the original Jaws. And basically the characters in the film are characters which are sons, etc., of the original characters, such as Brody, the mayor, etc. And they pretty much play the same kind of stereotypes. So the mayor is an idiot, as he used to be, etc. And the most interesting way, probably, of how this is different to the original is that instead of playing as the people, which of course you're rooting for in the film, you play instead as the shark. You play as Jaws. It's not the original Jaws, and he doesn't seem to be a particularly large great white in this film. I mean, he's a great white, so he's big by definition, but he's not as abnormally large as he was in the film. And basically, in the game, you play as Jaws wreaking havoc on the island, Amity Island, as in the film. But with the different perspective, it completely changes who you root for, who you are scared of, because obviously when you're playing as the shark, it's nowhere near as scary. Well, it's not scary at all, because you are the shark. As far as gameplay, I would say it's actually remarkably good for a PS2 game. This is a relatively late PS2 game from 2006, and the physics, although they definitely do take, say, about 15-20 minutes to get used to, and there is a tutorial at the start of the game, once you get used to them, the physics are very, very good, I would say. The movements of the shark are very fluid. In many ways, actually, for those who perhaps haven't played racing games, it's very similar to a racing game. You hold down the X button, kind of like the way you'd hold down an accelerator in a car, and you steer, in effect, with your analog controller. So it's actually very similar to a racing game in many ways, which is kind of odd, and I didn't expect that at all when I first got the game. As far as the overall gameplay, it's good, but I would say surprisingly challenging mentally. Now, that may sound a bit silly to say, but some of the missions, I was kind of worried when I started playing the game that the missions would be too easy, and you'd basically just be this unstoppable creature that could just destroy anything in its path, and that the game would be kind of like an arcade game, in effect, where you just destroy everything for the sake of it. But there really is a lot more to it than that. It's a lot more difficult in some missions than you'd think, playing as Jaws. You can die, for instance, remarkably easily. There's a wide variety of real marine creatures, fish that you can eat, other sharks, octopus, giant squid, orcas, dolphins, which represent threats to you. Some of them can kill you remarkably easily. Towards the start of the game, there's a mission where you have to escape from a SeaWorld type arrangement where you've been captured, and there's a small school of fish which can kill you very easily. I'm not sure if they're piranhas or what, but they can kill you remarkably easily. There are also other sharks, as you just saw me eating a hammerhead shark. Even the dolphins present a very real threat because they work in numbers against you. The orcas are very hard to kill. There's actually a boss near the start of the game which is an orca. And as you go through the game, you earn upgrades for the shark, and you can upgrade its speed, you can upgrade its power, you can unlock different abilities and attacks, such as a corkscrew attack, which you can see here. And the controls, as I said, are excellent. You can do the stuff that you'd expect to be able to do, like bite. You can do a stealth attack to grab people from under the water and drag them around, like at the start of the first film. Overall, this is a game which represents violence. It certainly does. I mean, you're eating stuff, but only to a certain degree, because, I mean, you're eating stuff by definition. So, as I said, you can eat marine creatures, you can eat humans as well. There's a human here, for instance, and It's reasonably graphic. There's certainly far more graphic games out there, and as far as graphic goes, a shark eating people is one of the more realistic displays of violence, in effect. But overall, the gameplay is, to be completely honest, better than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a little bit too limited. I was expecting the missions to be very linear, with very little, if any, free roaming. There's actually a lot of free roaming. You get the whole island to look around, which is awesome. There are loads of side missions. You come across random creatures in the water, such as, well, as I mentioned earlier, the orcas, etc. And you can actually free roam. You don't have to do the missions, as you can see here. And I love that. I think that's fantastic. If that wasn't there, it would have really affected how much I enjoyed the game. As far as the missions go, they're, as I said, more challenging than I expected, but very fun. You have to do problem solving with the shark. You have to do more obvious stuff like blitz attacks, attacking boats, attacking swimmers, attacking lifeguards, all that kind of stuff, other creatures. But overall, I'm happy with the game, very happy with the game, to be honest. It's one of my favourite games of its type. It's relatively unique, but of its type, where you play as a creature, I'd say it's definitely one of the best. If you're a fan of Jaws, you will love this game, as I am a big fan of the original film. And overall, I'd say it does it justice. Playing as the shark presents a completely different spin, really, on the Jaws story. And one of the things, it's only a small thing, but one of the things that I really love about this game is how the music changes. As I said, this is only a very small point, but it shows the amount of thought that's gone into the game. Where, if you swim underwater, you can hear that music, the Jaws music, especially when you go to attack stuff. But then when you come up to the top, the music dies out and it becomes eerie calm. And it's only a small thing, but I love that they took the time to do that. That is such a cool little feature that really lives up to the atmosphere of the original film, and I think that's awesome. But overall, if you're looking for a PS2 game that really does hold up, the graphics are not bad at all, the physics are fantastic. They take a little bit of getting used to, but once you do, it's so fun to play. If you're not a fan of Jaws, I think you'll probably enjoy it anyway. If you are, you will love it. So, I would definitely recommend getting this game. I don't really do rating systems, but if I did, it would probably be a 9 out of 10, if not 10, to be honest, for Jaws fans. If you're not a fan, maybe a 7 or an 8, because it's not a perfect game, but it's very, very good in my opinion. So, that's it for this review. If you guys have already played the game, tell me about it down below. What did you think of it? If you plan on getting it, then I hope this review is helpful for you. And that's it. So as always, thanks for watching.